What's amazing is about Truck Lagoon right now is I'm a scuba diver, and the government there, that's I don't know if that's Palau or who actually owns Truck. I think it's part of Palau.
Okay.
They won't allow any of those artifacts to be taken out of there. So if you go and dive there now, you can still see the bodies. You can still see the bombs and the tanks and everything. It's still there. So that's a place I'd love to go.
Yeah.
But now, so there was no camaraderie when you got back to the base that night? You didn't go, hey, I sank this and I did this? And...
I don't remember any.
Really? You weren't excited?
Yeah, we were a little bit. But then we moved into, in Guam, we moved into some new quarters and we built an officers club.
Tell us about that.
Oh yeah, that was interesting. The officers club was built by the Navy, really. And we had the liquor because we'd get liquor somewhere.
Because you had the planes.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
So all we used to do is hold the bottle, something like this, and the truck's loaded with the lumber for our officers club. We'd go by, we'd give them the one, and they'd put the lumber there.
Good bargaining tool.
Yes.
Sweet. And what were you drinking, whiskey?
I must have been, because I showed how I could jump off. I could jump off the little place that we had for the club or building. I could jump right on all these beer cans without hurting myself. I was drunk, not sure.
Yeah, just briefly about the nose art and the beautiful pinup girls that we would see on the fighter planes and bombers in World War II. Do you remember seeing stuff like that? I know that you had dual sack was your B-24, right?
Yeah, see, now that was embarrassment to me. I had nothing to do with that.
Right, so you didn't commission that artwork, huh?
No.
But you do remember it was pretty unique to Americans that they were painting on the sides of their airplanes.
It made the guys feel good.
Right.
Don't ask me why. I don't know. I didn't feel good.
Well, it gave your plane some individuality.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So when you were up in the sky, you look over, you probably ended up looking at what their painting was to recognize the guy, right?
Yeah.
Because there's dual sack over there flying.
Yeah. We used to refer, instead of number, we used to call them by their names too.
Right, which is pretty neat. But that was an internal thing amongst the squadrons, you know. But did you see that going on ever? Did you ever see the guys actually doing the paint jobs on the plane or anything?
I saw them painting the bombs on there and the missions on there, but I don't remember any of the girls that they did.
Well, let's talk about the girls for a second. Now, back at that time,
yeah,
like Esquire magazine, you might remember, had the Vargas in it, and it had the Gil Evergreen, and those artists that were famous for the pinup girls. Did you take those magazines along with you and stuff? Did you pin those up in your locker or anything?
I have a big book at home somewhere that I can't find with all those on it. I'll get it for you if I can find it.
So do you remember that? Do you remember the guys used to pin up the pinup girls out of the magazine though, and did they put them in the squadrons?
Yeah, they did, but I can't remember too much. I was not too much involved with that kind of stuff.
Okay.
I like real girls myself.
You'd rather have a real girl than a painted girl on the airplane, right?
Yeah, I'll see.
So let's talk about girls for a second. What was going on in your personal life back when you were in the Pacific? Did you have a girl back home or anything?
No, I didn't.
Single guy out gallivanting?
No, I didn't have. I had a couple of girlfriends, and the mothers had them all picked out for me to get married, and I wasn't interested in that.
You weren't ready for that. You were too much of a wild character, right?
Well, not wild. I was interested in different things, like model railroads and stuff like that.
So when you were out there, were you always looking forward to getting home? Was it? Yeah. Were you lonely? Were you homesick?
Yeah, one time I didn't write my parents for a long time. They got the Red Cross after me.
They came looking for you, huh?
Yeah, they did.
Now, why was that? Was that just because you were fed up with everything?
My morale was down, I guess.
Yeah.
I'd been out there a long time.
Yep.
And I didn't get a scratch on me the whole.
Well, that's amazing, isn't it? That's fantastic, because a lot of the guys that did what you did never came home.
A lot of guys did not out. And I read some books that scared the dickens out of me now.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I got to fly on a B-17 recently, and I felt very vulnerable up there.
Did you?
Yeah, I just couldn't believe there was virtually no protection.
Well, the B-17 was a lot better airplane. If we'd had B-17s, we wouldn't have lost many crews.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So yeah, you don't have a lot of nice things to say about the 24, really.
No, I don't.
But you were the monster that took it for a ride, I'll tell you that. I guess you made it work for you.
Yeah.
So what happened? Let's move on. Now we're getting closer to what, 44 and 45 now, right?
I think, yeah.
Because when did the truck lagoon go down? Do you remember? That's probably 43.
I can't remember that.
Okay, we'll take a look for that.
Okay.
But what happened after that? Where'd you end up going after that then?
After I finished my missions,
Yeah.
I was transferred back to the United States, and I went back to my old field where I took my flying training, and then they kept me there a month, and then they said, what do you want to do? The Air Force says, what do you want to do? I said, well, I want to go back and fly fighters again. So they sent me to Mississippi, and I checked out the P-51, the P-47, any fighter I could check out.
So now I remember you telling me you wanted to get checked out in a lot of aircraft. It was just kind of a personal goal, right?
Yes.
So that you could say, hey, I'm an experienced pilot with all these different planes.
Yes, that's exactly, and I do that. It's up on the board down at Massey. You'll see that when you get down there.
Good. We look forward to seeing that.
Yeah.
Now, at this point, you got yourself into the seat of a P-51. That must have felt pretty awesome leaving the 24.
It was awesome when I came back to land. Because I put the gear down, nothing happened.
Uh-oh.
So there I am with a P-51, something I'd never been in, and no landing gear. So the tower, I see all its equipment going out on the runway in front of me, and I reported I said, I can't get my left landing gear down, I think it was. And they said, well, go through your emergency procedure. Well, the emergency procedure, all it done was, you put the gear in the down position, leave it there, and just shake the dickens out of the airplane, and it drops out.
You're
Which
kidding
happened
me.
to me, and it worked.
So you actually had to use gravity just to get it to go down.
Yeah, and plus shaking the airplane.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
Boy, that must have been scary.
No, it really was. I said, well, heck, I can always get this thing when the ground's going to come down somewhere.
Now, did you guys had some training on how to bail out, right? Did you ever actually do a parachute? Did you ever? You never did. You never had to.
No, we never practiced bail.
But you had it one every time you went out on a mission, though.
What?
A parachute.
Oh yeah.
Did you wear it during your bombing missions, or was it just there?
I used to get kicked around on the floor because I would never bail out in the Pacific Ocean. That was just as dangerous as staying there.
Is that right?
Yeah. Well, you got to jump into the ocean.
Right. Yep.
Loaded with sharks.
Yeah. So do you know how many planes were lost from your squadron out of the Pacific?
I don't know. We lost quite a bit. In fact, there's a book I want you to read. I'll get it.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
So let's get back to your fighters though quick and just kind of run down after you got into your P-51 and you put a few hours on there. What did they do with you after that? You said, I want to fly other stuff.
No, I didn't say that. I liked what I was doing. In fact, I took more P-47s to a junkyard than I flew P-51s, but I did fly them, but not much. In fact, if you look at my record, you'll see that happened. I flew more P-47s.
And so you were back in the States training on fighters by the time we dropped the nuclear weapon.
I was in the air at the time. I was flying a P-51 down in Mississippi, and over there they announced that they dropped.
What did they say to you?
It was just a general radio transmission. It says we just dropped a bomb on. We knew damn well what happened.
But did you actually know about the weapon by that time?
No.
So nobody even knew what that meant yet.
No.
When they said drop the bomb, they didn't know what they meant yet.
I know. They said they dropped one. Boy, everybody was up in the air. They loved it.
And then the end of the war came.
Yep.
And I guess you remember the end of the war? Do you remember that day?
No,
I mean, a lot of people must have been celebrating.
Yeah, they were, but I can't remember what I was doing.
You were actually flirting at the bar with some beauty, I bet.
I wish.
Did you have a favorite starlet back then? Betty Grable or anybody? Was there a favorite?
Humphrey Bogart used to say, "Here's looking at you, kid." Who was that?
That's right, here's looking at you, kid.
That's what I used all the time.
Did you? That was your favorite
still
one?
use it.
You still use it.
I'll try it on some.